As we set up the university, so we don't want to set up a school that has traditional, we don't have a university that has traditional schools, like a school of law, a school of medicine, a school of engineering. We want our schools to be around these grand challenges and around these great opportunities. And that's how we created the School of Wildlife Conservation. And we ask our students here not to choose an academic major, but to choose a mission. Pick one of these problems that you want to solve and then curate your learning experiences around it so that you align learning with a purpose.
So today, let the Business of Conservation Conference serve as a catalyst that we equipped all of us here today, the great leaders, to take a bet on the next conservation leaders that is sitting next to you, standing next to you, so you could inspire them so they could go out there and lead change from Sierra Leone to Nigeria, from Morocco to Democratic Republic of Congo, from Rwanda to South Africa, from South Africa to Madagascar, and to every corner of the continent. We are young people, we are students, but we are impatient for change.
We need skilled practitioners. We need people who have experience. We need people who have knowledge, especially in a sensitive sector like conservation that evolves over time. So it is very crucial to have partners that invest intentionally in building those skills and also supporting as we do and embark on different. Without a strong education system in place and well-funded research and development programs, we are unlikely to see full potential of wildlife economy.
Then just changing the narrative. We need to start speaking differently. We all need to start speaking the same language about the wildlife economy so that we can move it forward. And then I'll come now to the investment index, which is more about encouraging investment and seeing wildlife as a strategic asset, not as an input or a resource, which is what it has been seen as currently.
If you have social inclusion and you have an enabling investment environment, then you can really sustain that wildlife economy and develop, or wildlife asset, and develop a thriving wildlife economy, which sustains people as well as obviously the natural asset.
People benefit more from this wildlife stock that they have on their land, and it could make more economic sense to compete with other land use.
What we lack in conservation, which is scale. If we had 100 cement factories across Africa, what would happen? Pretty soon you'd get takeovers, you get buyouts, you get consolidation. Why? Because you can put a value very easily on these types of companies. We can't do that in conservation.
We all know that 2030 is a very important time frame for the SDG goals. That's why we have 30 by 30, so that by 2030, if we don't reverse biodiversity loss, we've lost everything. If we don't reverse poverty by 2030, forget about all the big ambitions that we have. And the only thing that will save us, I think, is starting to take biodiversity conservation, not just conservation as we know it, but biodiversity seriously.
How can we get an engaged society? Because once we engage society, you engage the voters, and the politicians will listen to their voters. But if the voters don't understand biodiversity or don't see biodiversity as a solution to their challenges.
So we need to be exclusive. We need to bring everyone. We need to start from education levels. We need to teach our people, our young people, our kids, what conservation is, the benefits of conservation, and with that, then we will stand relevant. And once we are relevant, then we're able to speak and everyone will listen.
Nature-based tourism or ecotourism has been the reason Rwanda's tourism has really thrived. We announced our results beginning of this year, 56% growth But if you look at just the gorilla tourism, it was 70% growth in the first half of this year. And so this year we really are excited because we think finally we'll go back to doing better than the pre-pandemic. But that's very much because of the conservation. It's how we conserve the gorillas. It's how we manage the national parks. And we think learning from the report what else we can do, I think is really going to give us something that we want to do, which is really to do better even in the ecotourism space.
Maximize it, make it work, make it as sustainable as possible, but we need to be more resilient. We need to plug in as many different finance solutions to our traditional income streams of tourism and our traditional mode of fundraising.
Other thing that happened is that some local organizations that did not invest in their capacity and in their ability to absorb this money, they exploded and then imploded. So unfortunately, some organizations were not able to manage the growth that was coming to them, because there's plenty of funding, but if you haven't figured out how to bring a bucket and umbrella to the rainstorm, then you don't survive.
Unprecedented reliance on biodiversity to actually meet the needs of Africans.
The question I would pose now to everybody in this room is exactly what are we going to do with that index to make a change?
All of this cannot be done if a country does not have a vision that is connected to skills development, especially for conservation.
We need to also start thinking about how people are going to benefit from these projects. It's not just about wildlife species, about forests, it's also about people that are living alongside these natural resources.
Dealing with investors, dealing with finance. Do not overburden project owners with requirements for registrations and so forth, but create space, create sandboxes in particular for climate action projects to allow innovations to take place.
What impact do you think celebrity endorsements can have in protecting our wildlife, and how do you use your celebrity as a force for change? Very quickly.
One can only hope that you gain attention in a sense, and so use it. If your voice gets people, if people listen to your voice or hear your voice or pay even some degree of attention to it, then hone it towards what the things that you're passionate about and the things that need to be attended to.
And the business of conservation is going to really become something that I believe a lot of us think it should become, the investable opportunity that we all aspire for it to become. Then a large part of that money is going to come from the corporate and capital markets.
So I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants here today. I firmly believe that a vibrant wildlife economy is a consequence of robust adaptive laws and policies. We must create a regulatory framework that not only promotes businesses but respects the essence of our natural heritage. In the spirit of this conference and in line with the ALU report on Wildlife Economy Investment Index, I urge all stakeholders, governments, businesses, communities, and every individual to invest in the foundational elements needed for a thriving wildlife economy. Thank you, and let us keep championing the cause of wildlife for both people and the planet.